Alright you guys, what's going on? My name is Student, welcome to the study hall, and today we are going to be doing the Synergy Guide for Piccolo Season 4. It is finally here. It is finally time. I saw a couple of questions going on in the Discord. People were asking about Piccolo, so I decided to jump on down and drop my opinion on it. Disclaimer, this is all my opinion personally from my time playing Piccolo. I've been playing them since Season 2. Towards the end, I never learned the fuzzy, but ever since that season, I've been on top of Piccolo like white on rice or green on leaves. Is that a better example? Anyway, we're here to talk about the man in green, Piccolo himself, and who are the best characters to be pairing with Piccolo. Number 1, it's called Z tier for a reason. At the time of recording this video, only him. Z for Broly. Broly is by far, in my opinion, the best character to pair with Piccolo. There is no other character, as far as I know, in the game that is giving Piccolo this synergy right here. It's all because of this. It's so simple. You DHC, you you get a Dragon Rush, you set up Orb, or DHC, you get a Dragon Rush, backdash Hell Zone. This is so important. And let me stress to you how important this is. Piccolo is a rushdown character who struggles in neutral, but his Oki is great. He is very good at keeping up the pressure after knockdown. Why is this so important to identify? Because a DHC is something that can happen from literally anything. At any point in the game, you can always throw out a super. Even in the middle of a combo, after a super dash, after a vanish. You can always throw out a super. So the fact that Broly is giving Piccolo this DHC from anywhere, it starts to become a question of who is enabling the DHC the best, right? The character who's on point just has to knock them down into this. Since you can DHC from literally anything, and that includes a different character, your third character, knocking down and then DHCing without even them spending any meter at all, it means that any character in the game, as long as they can knock you downwards in the corner, you can create a setup that is strong. This is so incredibly valuable because corner Oki in fighters can be tough to manage unless you're already adapting to the way your opponent is playing you. But now you have, at any point in time, you can have the opponent play your knockdown game at any point in time, at any point of the game. This is so rare. This is basically a level 3 for 2 bars. And if you decide to spend an extra bar, you can do Hell Zone instead. But Orb is basically good against everyone in the cast outside of the select few characters who are able to beat Ki Blast one wake up. This is invaluable to Piccolo because this is his best situation. This is one of his best situations. The whole point of playing neutral with this character is to hit you somehow, get you to the corner just so you can get this set up, and now he doesn't even need to be on the screen to set up that situation. You get to win neutral with Piccolo without him ever touching the screen. This is huge because, again, like we said, his toughest hurdle is neutral, and you get to bypass it completely, which means you get to play any character you want. You get to run around, call barriers for 18, drop a super, and as long as you don't use your DR, you can always go into Piccolo. It's insane. This is bypassing his biggest weakness altogether. You get to skip it completely. Not to mention, Broly with Piccolo A is a proven shell. Broly's Ki Blast was nerfed, so it has more recovery. But with Piccolo, he gets to Ki Blast without ever actually pressing Ki Blast. And on top of that, Broly normally shoots something so he can try to create respect to put on barrier. Now, he gets to just put on barrier while also Ki Blast. It goes from two-step neutral of creating respect and then applying barrier to just applying barrier. While still applying a Ki Blast that's homing now. It's not even just like a normal ki blast. It's a homing ki blast. Again, from my experience, it's always been these two in a third character. These two, and then a third character. Piccolo's special beam cannon is very long. It's a long duration move, so it's difficult to find another character who can guarantee give him a dragon rush in the corner like that. The biggest thing is the synergy. The DHC synergy is so big because you get to skip and bypass Piccolo's neutral and then put him into one of his best case scenarios without ever considering his weakness. And that is the reason why Broly is in his own tier. No one else is coming close to Piccolo's synergy wise, and everyone else is literally fighting for second place when it comes to this. I would go as far to say Broly is required because there's this just massive drop off when it's not there. There are professional Piccolo players, Hook, who have decided to like go either away from Piccolo, or when they were playing Piccolo they decided to go like the triple point team route too, and that's fine. We'll talk about I plan on making another video talking about team building with Piccolo as well. I will touch on some things in here, but I really want to talk about in the team building video the role of Piccolo and how it's changed, and the different roles that he can fulfill, because you can either play him point, mid, or anchor, and there are strengths and weaknesses to each and every one of them. So I just want to educate the community on what is what when it comes to that kind of conversation. So we'll hold off on that and we won't touch as much on team building. We'll mostly talk about just the synergy here, but expect that to come out later. All right, next up, I'm pretty sure the only one, I'll try to order it as best as I can, but I'm sure that it's going to start divvying out, because the biggest thing for synergy is the DHC. The DHC is crazy, but outside of the DHC, because since I'm pretty sure this is only a Broly only thing, when we're talking about outside of the DHC synergy, what else you're looking for with someone who can interact well with Piccolo. I have these different notations over here, but I don't want you to think of them as in order. I want you to think of them as just points, just different points. There's no this point is more valuable than this point. That's all depending on what you value as a player. So it's kind of difficult for me to say which one is outright the thing you should be looking for and which one isn't. That being said, I will still tell you which ones I personally lean towards to try to lead you into a way of thinking, to show you my way of thinking, so then you can start to formulate your own way of thinking using mine as a basis if you would like to. But I'll try to be as neutral as possible when it comes to what these points mean and how they interact with Piccolo's synergy. So first off, I want to say, and this is a bit of my own showing, Oki. For this, you want to have some type of fast SKD, which means sliding knockdown, some fast SKD move. So funny enough, Broly has this. So what you're wanting to do, you want to knock them down into the first orb. It's kind of pairs in hand with like a move that can knock down at all. So like normally having some type of JH that knocks down is really good for this. And if you don't have a JH that knocks down, synergy can be a bit different, right? So people like Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, he doesn't have a traditional JH. His hits horizontally. So it can be a bit awkward to try to make things with Piccolo. You have to look for more combo synergy outside of Oki synergy, right? But I put a lot of value on this because there are characters who aren't designed for Oki, right? I love to use this example. Base Goku is known to not have good Oki, but because of the way it interacts with Piccolo Orb, because you can knock them down into one orb and then have the other ones into a setup like this, you're now neutral with a projectile on your opponent. So instantly your Oki is good. Instantly you have good Oki. And that can be really big because you're turning a character's weakness into a strength. You're covering their weakness with a strength now. And that's just really important when it comes to trying to synergize and make different teams like this. You're always either you're either picking covering their weakness or you're picking bolstering their strengths. So if you can do both at the same time, that's top tier synergy. So Oki, normally a fast SKD move. I think of Blue Goku, that's another S tier pick that we'll go over. We can put him up now. Blue Goku's definitely an S tier pick for this, not only for the shell, But just talking about Piccolo, but I'll talk about Broly some too, just because I think they should be required partners, right? So I'll mention Broly sometimes, but this is mostly about Piccolo, just in case you decide not to play Broly. Because like Broly, he's been falling off, so I understand if you don't want to play him, but I would, again, I feel like I'm beating the dead horse here, but I can't stress enough how good it is to have the DHC synergy and how versatile it becomes. You start to look at Piccolo differently when you have this tool at your advantage.
We're never done learning, it's never over.